Number 1 says points E, F, and G are collinear. And all that means is the 3 points are on the same line. So let's draw that. So we have a line, and we have 3 points that are collinear, E, F, and G. Right, and it says point H is a point not on line EG. So let's draw point H somewhere not on this line. And it says the measure of angle GFH is 64. So angle GFH is 64. What is the measure of angle EFH? So these are supplementary angles. They're on a straight line. And so these two angles are going to add to 180. And so to find this missing angle, we'll say 180 minus the 64. And that gives us 116. Okay, number 2, it tells us that W, X, and Z are collinear. The measure of angle WXY is 4A. So let's do that. Angle WXY is 4A. And the measure of angle YXZ is 11A. Okay? And the question wants to know the measure of this angle. But what do we know about these two angles? These are supplementary angles, and if we add them together, we'll get 180. So let's do that. Let's do 4A plus 11A equals 180. And that gives me 15A equals 180. Let's divide by 15. A is going to be 12. Now the question wants to know the measure of this angle, so we just plug our A value. We substitute A in, or 12 in for A. So the measure of angle WXY equals 4A. That equals 4 times 12. That gives me 48 degrees. And when you get your answer, always double check. This is an acute angle. It's less than 90 degrees, and this would make sense, 48 degrees. So always double check that when you get your final answer. Okay, number 3 says the non-common rays of 2 adjacent angles form a straight angle. So let's draw that. So a ray is just a point with an arrow going in one direction. And it says we have adjacent angles with the non-common rays form a straight angle. So these would be non-common rays of 2 adjacent angles. So these would be the non-common rays. And it says the measure of one angle is 4 times the measure of the other angle. So the bigger angle is going to be 4 times the other angle, so we can call this one 4x or 4a, whatever variable you want to use. 4x and x. Okay? And so I know that this angle plus that one is 180 because these are supplementary. So 4x plus x equals 180. That's 5x equals 180. Divide by 5. That's going to give us x equals 36. And the question wants to know what's the measure of the smaller angle, which is that one, which is just x. So my answer is 36. Okay, number 4 is really close to number 3. It's just one slight difference. So it says the non-common rays of 2 adjacent angles form a right angle. So for your non-common rays, let's make a right angle out of it. And so you got 2 adjacent angles, and the non-common rays form a right angle. All right, and it says the same thing as number 3. It says one angle is 4 times the measure of the other angle. So we'll let the bigger one be 4x and this one be x. Except this time when we add these two angles together, these are complementary because they add to 90 degrees. So we'll say 4x plus x equals 90 degrees. Solve that. 5x equals 90. Divide by 5. Divide by 5. X is 18. And the question wants to know what is the measure of the larger angle, which is this one. So I'll need to substitute in 18 here. So we'll do 4 times 18. That gives me 72 degrees. Okay, number 5. It gives us two supplementary angles. They're on a straight line, so I know that this angle plus this one is 180. So let's write the equation and solve it. Okay, so our like terms are the 4x and 2x. That gives me 6x plus 6 equals 180. Let's get our x term by itself. Let's chunk over 6. It'll become a negative 6. So 6x equals 180 minus 6. That gives me 174. And that's going to give me, dividing by 6, it's going to give us x equals 29. And the question wants to know what is the measure of the smaller of the two angles, so this one. So I'll plug in 29 here, and we'll say 2 times 29. And that gives me 58 degrees. Okay, number 6, what is the supplement of 70 degrees? So it's saying 70 is supplementary with what other angle? And so to find that, we'll just say 180 minus 70. So the supplement of 70 degrees is 110. And number 7 says what is the complement of 70 degrees? So what angle is complementary to 70? And that adds to 90, so I'll say 90 minus 70, and that's 20 degrees. Okay, number 8 says if point G is in the interior of right angle DEF, so let's draw that. Interior just means inside, and you have right angle DEF, and it says point G is somewhere inside here, anywhere in there, it's fine. Which of the following could be the measure of angle GEF? And so what we need to know is GEF has to be less than 90 degrees. This is DEF is 90. GEF is going to be less than 90, and there's only one answer choice that's less than 90. I think it's 85 degrees. Okay, on number 9 it says, in the figure below, the measure of angle WYZ is 28 degrees. So let's go ahead and write that in here. WYZ, 28. It also tells us that YM bisects angle ZYX. So YM is going to bisect. That means it cuts it in half. It's going to cut in half angle ZYX. So what that tells me is this angle here and this angle here are going to be the exact same measure. Alright, and it wants to know the measure of angle XYM, so this angle here. So what you need to know, you have 3 angles that are supplementary. They're on a straight line. And so we have 28 degrees is one of the angles, and I know that these 2 angles, we'll just call them X, they're the exact same measure. And so if I add all 3 angles together, they're supplementary, they'll equal 180. So let's say 28 plus X equals 180. So that's 28 plus 2X equals 180. Throw over the 28. So 2X equals 152. Divide by 2. X is going to be 76 degrees. Alright, so once we get X, that's going to be the measure of angle XYM, 76 degrees. Okay. Number 10 tells us that YZ and MB intersect at point O, and XO is perpendicular to YZ. If something's perpendicular, that just means it forms a 90-degree angle. What is the value of 3P plus 4S minus 2T? So in order to find the value of that, we need to find P, S, and T. So this is what we're given. So the first thing I see is angle S is vertical with this 35-degree angle. So I know S is 35. So I'm going to come out to the side and write S equals 35. Okay. I also know that this angle T is supplementary to 35. So T is going to be 180 minus the 35, which gives me 145. Okay. It's 145. And we also know that 35 and P are complementary because this angle has to be 90 if that one's 90. So P is going to be 90 minus 35. 90 minus 35 gives me 55. Okay, so now let's find the value of 3P plus 4S minus 2T. Let's plug in our values. So 3 times 55 plus 4 times 35 minus 2 times 145. So let's do that in our calculator. We have 3 times 55 is 165. 4 times 35, that's going to give us 140. And negative 2 times 145, it's going to be negative 290. Now, let's do this 165 plus 140 minus 290, and we'll have our answer. It gives us 15.